Hello, I'm Abandonment. It is day number 204 of my note writing adventure, and I'm continuing to examine my own understanding, what God is exposing in my heart about His consolations to me, His comforting, those things that He does to sustain me in difficult experiences, etc. So my note for today is as follows. Abandonment is not a denial of God-focused relationships, not His with me or mine with Him, not at all. It may feel like it, but as I get into what I've been reading and my response to what I'm reading, you'll understand what I mean there. What should my focus be to affirm my position with Him? To affirm this, my soul must know Him, God, as the complete consolation. So why do I come to this understanding? Because, friends, we have an example of what an abandoned person's response to that feeling. So here goes. This abandonment is still further known by comparisons with the abandonment and temptation of Christ. He neither saw nor tasted the goodness of God in his feelings, as he was accustomed. When he lamented that he was forsaken, nevertheless he believed and could not but believe that God was his God. He was on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me? That was his feelings. He was right to feel that way. There was reason for him to feel that way. But he knew who his God was. He did not cancel out the personal union itself, but the enjoyment of it. And that's from God's perspective. So why does God allow desertion, abandonment, the feelings of that in our lives? And there are various different reasons. Now, friends, I do want to qualify my position on this and why I'm working through this. It is to deal with the outfall of bad church situations. Now, if you've been in a bad church situation and everybody ousts you, cuts you out, ousts you, and what does that feel like to you? And because God is God and church is Jesus, we wonder, is he abandoning us? It is normal for this to cross your mind. Again, we need to separate the feelings from the facts. So why does God allow desertion? That the believer may be tested and so become better known to himself and others. Isn't that sweet? We're being taught something, and through him teaching us, we are being example to others of what his grace and his character on display, him being glorified, looks like. Vitius continues, and Vitius is the author of the work I'm reading through, that the desire for grace and glory may increasingly be strengthened in us. Wow. That hidden sins may be uncovered and future sins prevented. That we are taught tenderness of conscience and a correct and precise observation of our own conduct. That we obtain an aversion to this world, that we are weaned of external earthly joys and earthly consolations. That we learn to cling to God all the more firmly. That God may grant relief, and at times, now we show Vitius is commenting on the compassion of God, that God may grant relief in this situation of testing as well as triumph after a complete victory, or at least times of refreshment and lovely intervals or periods. Abandonment, however, also serves to make the grace of God, indeed even the smallest crumb and the tiniest feeling of it, all the more precious and pleasant to us. Friends, I've experienced this, and because I have, reading that is such a sweet song of joy within my soul. I read that and I think, Lord God, thank you so much for affirming that through this. Vitius continues, it is granted so that they may all the more painstakingly preserve the evidence of his favor, and thank the Lord all the more fervently for them. It is given so that also the faint and thirsty soul may be flooded by a new stream of consolations, inundated by an entire sea, and thus possess a new heaven while on earth. Friends, in the past I've spoken about those nuggets, those little tidbits of his presence, his comfort, his consolations as the splashovers of heaven, to give us a testimony, to give us the joy, to give us the blessing of grace in our lives, that we may take the next step in faith. And that's what is Vitius in writing this work affirms to me. I read this book twice before, previously 10 years ago, and prior to that maybe 15 years ago, or even 20 years ago. And I think this wording has become imprinted in my soul and part of my functioning and thought process, that because I'm not the world's most brilliant person, I had to get all of that from somewhere, and God had gifted me with reading through this years ago so that it could become part of my understanding and part of how he wanted me to respond to life. The ultimate end of these abandonments is the honor of the wisdom, mercy, and power of God revealed in the salvation of us. He is so powerful, and when he leads us to salvation in such a marvelous way, what a gift of grace is that not? So the Lord our God makes wholesome nourishment out of poison, out of wounds, and out of the most bitter, even hellish pain, the most healing medicines. Those tidbits are his medicinal healings that we need in those moments. Friends, we are not abandoned, forsaken, and left. If God is your Father as he is mine, he may allow those moments of isolation for us so that we run after him some more. And as I think of run after him some more, that reminds me, I had looked at Psalm 63 verses 6 through 8. Let me read that for you. And when I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night, for you have been my help, and in the shadow of your wings I will sing for joy. Verse number 8, my soul clings to you. Your right hand upholds me. Now, friends, in the past I've said that we need to cling, we need to grip, we need to hold on with all that we have to have God as our consolation. So I decided to take that verse and look at the original text, and so that I could understand clinging in a better way. And I don't know why I didn't do this before, but I'm glad I've done it right now. It is so sweet. So my soul clings to you. It is to catch by pursuit. That means that you may be feeling isolated. You may be alone at night. You may be in the watch hours. That's the dark time of night where you have the watchman out looking and protecting the city, etc. In what that culture was at that era. So it's late at night. Everything's quiet and you're alone. And God, why? Where are you? And your soul clings. You hold on, you rush after him. Don't leave me, Lord, don't leave me. You rush on and you cling. You follow hard after, you race after him. You pursue hard to overtake. You pursue in such a way that you can get ahead, that you can be prepared, as what I read to you, to prepare for future possible sins in your life. You get ahead. That's what clinging means. You follow close, as in joined together. You are one with your God as he is with you, so that you walk in his ways and you do not look left or right. Narrow is the gate and difficult is the way that leads to life, and there are few who find it. Be the few. Be one of those. Cling, hold on. I am so blessed in my soul by the study I am doing, and I will continue, obviously, do it because I want to have it part of what I'm writing about. It is so sweet to know the consolation that we can have if we decide because we've learned to know Him, that He will be our trust. Friends, I hope you can say the same is true for you. And until tomorrow, day 205, I look forward to sharing more with you again. Until then, God bless and bye-bye for now.